you can only watch it for the first time once. It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we don't.
Did you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters, but then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time, and everything changed. Now, we're watching this incredible series for the second time, paying attention to everything that we missed the first time around.
You know what I was thinking earlier today, Jeff?
What's that?
I was going back through I was re-listening to our first episode, the first time we went through this episode.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking of like how different we are now.
Yeah.
We're so like just as individual people, not just with all the life events and everything that have happened, but like being on this side of Babylon 5, like Babylon 5 has had an impact in life. And when I go back and I listen to the noobs, you know,
right.
There's things I want to say to them.
I can say it, the rubes. I wouldn't even give us enough credit as noobs.
Okay, spoiler alert. So we actually had a little bit of a conversation about whether or not at this point in our first watch, we were now veteran Babylon 5 podcasters. The hubris, the sheer hubris that we had to be able to say that, because no, I was even sitting there going, shut up, boys. No, not yet. No. Now I can say that with full confidence.
Right? Look at us.
On the show, we have been through it. We're there. No, like this will be a thing we can now put on our resume for the rest of time. And we made it through. But now we're doing this really super cool second watch. But you know what we're doing during the second watch, Jeff?
What are we doing?
We are still searching for those sci-fi messages that we find in the series. We're asking, what's this episode trying to tell us? Is it giving us hope that things can be better in the future? Is it holding up a mirror to society or telling us how we can be better human beings to one another? Now, that being said, for all of you folks out there listening, this episode is going to be full of spoilers. As I said, Jeff and I have already been through this series once, and that means that from this point forward, we could talk about anything from any point, from any episode, anywhere in the entire franchise, canonical or non-canonical, source or extra source. It's all fair game for us to talk about. So if you have not watched Babylon 5 yet, stop this video. Go back and join us for our first watch. It's in the feed. You guys can do that there and catch up with us and come hang out with us now on the second watch. Trust us, it's much better if you do it that way. This is your last warning.
Brent, we're kicking off season 2 today, watching Points of Departure. We watched this a little while ago for the first time and had our responses and reactions to it. Do you remember what you thought of it when we watched Points of Departure for the first time?
Not much.
Yeah.
Here's what I know about Points of Departure. We get the Sheridan switchover, right? And I think what I really just remember is this episode was it was the one where we just had to reset because of the new character. Like, we couldn't just keep going off of Chrysalis. Like, oh, we've had a change, so we've got to make that change happen. And we got to take an episode and pause and do that. And that's what I remember. That's my, like, as I walk through and I think back, Points of Departure. Oh yeah, that's the Sheridan episode. And we just kind of had to pause. Right. I'm really looking forward to this time around because I want to see what else was actually going on in this episode. I want to add to my memory of what this episode really is. Because having just had the first watch, that's really all I remember about this episode.
I kind of don't remember a lot either. Well, I remember 4 things. I remember Sheridan, right? I mean, how can you not? I was like, what? Who's this guy?
Mm-hmm.
I remember, hey, look at the lighting. It's like they spent a little more money on the lighting. Mm-hmm. I remember the Trigati, just because that's a fun word to say. It's the Minbari ship, I'm pretty sure. And then I remember, hey, remember that cool like Chrysalis thing and, you know, hole in Sinclair's mind? Well, let's just let Lanier tell you everything that was going to happen in a 2-minute dump of just blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? Really? Oh, man. So I remember being kind of lukewarm on this one in a big way because of that info dump from Lanier.
Interesting. You know, it's interesting. I say what I say. It's interesting you say what you say, because that's what our memory says.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what we actually said.
You do?
Because I went back and listened to our first response, as I've already mentioned so far. You want to hear some of the stuff that we said?
Oh man, I'm a little nervous, but yeah.
I had fun with this one. I had fun. It's so weird. I have fun listening to us. We talk about it all the time. Okay. Jeff, I'm sorry. I meant to pull this as a clip, and I meant to pull 2 clips for this, and I didn't, but that's okay. You got me so good.
Yeah.
Now, to all the folks out there, Jeff has been the editor of our audio podcast this entire time. He has edited, I think, just about every single episode. I don't think I've had to step in on any of them.
Yeah.
So Jeff has been doing that. He's in his recap. Do you remember what you did in your recap?
No.
Because you had the recap for this episode. You're talking, and you go, oh shoot, I've got to update the computer. Don't worry about it. Oh, yeah. Like you had this like side little thing, and I was like, oh, Jeff, you forgot to put that out. You got to forget didn't pull that out. Right? I'm walking through Home Depot while I'm listening to this, and I'm like, oh no, Jeff. And then you do something else, and something blips, and you're like, shoot, I really should have installed these updates. And you go through some stuff, and then you're like, kind of like the way that Babylon 5 got all of its updates. It would have been good if they'd done that the first time around. I was like, oh, he's doing a bit. He's doing a bit.
This was like the time we started doing bits in our recaps. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Because we tried to get a little more loose with them, a little more funny with them. But you totally got me. I like from the creator side of it, like, you didn't edit this out. What are you doing? You loved the production changes in this episode.
Yeah.
The more lights and the graphics, all of those kind of updates. But you're right. Overall, you didn't like this episode very much.
Okay. Yeah.
You just didn't. I, on the other hand, loved this episode.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember loving this episode, but I said it. I really, really liked this episode.
I feel like this is Brent after every single season intro. This is the best season premiere so far. Season to season, I think you said it every time.
I remember season 5 was my favorite by the time it was all said and done. Yeah. And season 1 was the worst. So, and you're right. They might have gotten progressively better for me. But I did. I really, I said what I liked about this episode is that it gave us everything that we needed from season 1 that we didn't actually get in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
We got all of those things, and it kind of finally starts to feel like they're going somewhere, which, knowing what we know now about the structure of how JMS did this is the time that stuff starting to go places.
Yep.
You know? So it's kind of the point. You had some big theories about Sinclair on this one.
Okay.
This was the episode. You said this because we were debating whether or not Michael O'Hare was actually gone from the show, because we didn't know. You know, we knew that there was the issues and stuff, but we didn't know because he was not killed.
Right.
The character was not killed off. He was just shunted over. And I was like, you know, maybe Sheridan's here. Maybe Sheridan has been a part of the plan the entire time. And Jeff, I'm so glad that in our last episode we went through the original plan, because now we can compare it. We can go, no, Sheridan wasn't a part of the plan, at least not in this capacity at this early. He wasn't in the treatment that we wrote.
Nope.
That we went through. So no, Sheridan wasn't a part of the plan. And we now know Michael O'Hare actually was gone from the show. He came back for like 2 episodes,
right?
3, I think, technically, but you had a theory about him that he would be the new Kai Wynn.
Okay.
Do you remember this?
I don't remember this at all.
You said it'd be and I'm quoting you now.
Okay. Stand by. We'll be right back. Are you ready to take your Babylon 5 for the first time experience to the next level? With our exclusive Patreon, you'll get access to all kinds of cool stuff that you can only find there. Our recording notes, unedited reaction videos, an exclusive Discord community. And you can even be listed as a producer of the show. Plus, we even offer exclusive meet and greets and hangouts. You won't find this kind of experience anywhere else. Get all these amazing benefits, plus the opportunity to interact with other fans from around the world. It's being part of a huge community where everyone shares the same appreciation for Babylon 5. Subscribe at patreon.com/Babylon5First. That's the number 5 and the word first to get access to these incredible benefits. That's patreon.com/Babylon5First. We can't wait to see you there.
This would be the person who isn't on the DVD cover, but we're excited every time they show up. And I went, who's excited when Kai Wynn shows up? What are you talking about?
She's great. I mean, she's horrible, but she's Cartagia great.
And then you said this. You said it's because Sinclair is the key political and religious figure that shows up from time to time to move the story along.
Okay.
The key political and religious figure that shows up 2 more times.
Couple times.
And moves the story along. Holy schmark, Jeff.
If we look at the arc from last week, I described his kid.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I also described his kid, but as something completely different. But that's okay. You also very much appreciated the military realism in this episode.
That's right, because in the battle, when they're repeating the commands back to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Does it get a crown? They want to know, Sarah wants to know over in the chat if you're getting a crown for that. No.
That's pretty. It's too general. Like it's pretty dead on, and it's too general.
I was going to say there was no specificity. No, you get your crown for one you have coming up here in just a few moments.
Oh
yeah. Now, I also said this, Jeff. This is the episode where I reveled because in season 1 I had a little prediction about Sinclair myself. I said Sinclair is part Minbari.
Yep.
And in this episode, we get this big info dump from Lemire, where that's what he said. He's like, Sinclair he's got a Minbari soul. And I was like, yeah. And you turned around and took that and amped it up to 11 in this episode, Jeff. And it's where Jeff says Sinclair is Valen.
Wow. Okay.
That you got your literal crown.
Dude, I can imagine putting ourselves in the listener's space, like how many jaws hit the floor in that moment.
I, as a person who went through this with you, about hit the roof of my car when you said that. I was like, what? They got that here?
I don't want anybody to get hurt. Like, that's what I'm saying. But how great would it be if somebody got into a collision because they're like, what happened? Well, this just total rube guessed that Sinclair was Valen.
Now, here's the thing. Again, going back to the original plan that we had last night, or that we went through on last week's episode. I don't know at what point JMS retooled Babylon Squared and made Babylon 4, instead of go to the future, turn around and said, no, actually it's going to go to the past instead of the future. And we're going to turn Sinclair into Valen. But I get the feeling he hadn't had that thought yet.
Okay.
So when you called that out right now, before he does that, maybe he had the thought, I don't know. But regardless, it's still like super early in the process.
He planted all. I mean, this is the thing. The genius of his writing is there's so many seeds planted that if he doesn't go harvest them, you don't even notice. Some of them are very obvious that he doesn't harvest, but they just naturally flow and let it ebb and change. Like we said last week, it lives and it breathes.
It does. It absolutely does. And when it does, most of the time, at least in this world, we get a much stronger story for it.
Exactly.
Much stronger story for it. Fabio over here says that he low-key thought you'd skipped around and checked Wiki or something.
Oh.
He was calling shenanigans on you, pal.
I don't even know. I assumed there was a wiki, but I hadn't looked at any of that stuff at this point.
Hey, you remember last week when we said in the original arc that the leader of the Minbari warrior caste commits suicide and left a rogue group that was responsible for the Sinclair thing in the Gathering? And then we asked if that's what was supposed to have happened with the Shy Elite. Because remember, the Shy Elite was dead. And like, did he commit suicide? Is that how he died? Well, we actually get a direct answer to that question in this episode. Didn't know. I didn't know that when I asked that question last week. And in this episode, I'm just going to let it play out, but we are once again going to see a very big part of the original concept come into play and maybe even get to track the change of how JMS is making those changes as he's, retooling the show a little bit. You and I were both big fans of Sheridan from the word go. We loved him straight out the gate. And I'm so excited for this because, listen, all love and respect to Michael O'Hare. And yours and my respect for him and love for him, I would say skyrocketed in this watch.
Yes, agreed.
So no shade to him whatsoever, but Daddy's home.
Dude, Bruce Boxleitner oozes charisma.
Dude, he's so good looking too. Look at the man back there. Like, he's just like, oh my God. You're right. He does.
He can be boyishly handsome, ruggedly handsome, whatever you need. He's all of it.
And we know he's going to age. I mean, because you think about season 5, Bruce Boxleitner, who's President Sheridan and all that sort of stuff. And it's, my God, he looks so good.
He's the GOAT T.
Wow. We both loved how Sinclair was written off the show. And you had mentioned how it's actually the pattern that we had seen with Dr. Kyle and Lita. And what we now know is a trap door. It was actually built into the show. But you and I were just both like, man, it's so cool how he's writing these people off. And we're like, yeah, because he did it on purpose, you big idiots. We've been trying to tell you that. You and I both guffawed a lot over the vibe shower that all the plebes on the station have to take.
Okay.
Because the command staff gets real water. Everybody else just has to take a vibe shower. And we're kind of like, oh, that might actually be the way to go.
Right. I'm down for some vibe.
There you go. We both figured that Delenn was turning into a human, but you specifically called it as a hybrid.
Okay.
Which I thought was neat. And we both said that Linear seems a lot more mature in this one. We noted that, like the growth of his character. The last thing I'll say here, Jeff, is it was a really, really good thing that it was my turn to listen to the episode and not yours.
Yeah.
Because I made a major Stargate reference that is a massive spoiler. That if you were to hear it right now, you would know exactly what and who I was talking about.
Yeah.
Do not go listen.
Okay.
Because you're not there yet.
Oh, okay. Oh,
you're not there yet.
That's awkward.
And here's the thing. We're not even keeping track. We're not even keeping so much spoilers away from you for Stargate. Like, that's a whole different animal, right? This is one I've been keeping.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a secret of the show I've just been letting develop for you. So, yeah. But that wasn't my only Stargate reference. No. I said the Agamemnon reminded me a lot of the X-303.
Which we just saw.
Which you now know what that is.
Yeah, very cool. So, you're right. I think we talked about that in the episode too. Kind of a similar build.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what you and I said, Jeff, about this episode. But I'm really curious. I know you did some research on this and found out what JMS was saying about this episode. What did he have to say? Anything good?
I just have to say it's incredible to me that J. Michael Straczynski continues to exist online, because it had to be so exhausting. I feel like he answered the same 3 or 4 questions 800,000 times. No, Ivanova is not going to be the commander because she was just the first officer. That's not how it works. She doesn't. No, Ivanova. It's not normal for the first officer to be. Ivanova is the first. That's her job. Is this. Over and over again. No, Sheridan is not a war criminal. It was done in a military. No, that's not against the rules of this. It's over and over, so many things. But I'll tell you, there's a lot on this one. And so I'll kind of run through. He says, I like this a lot because it describes our show. He says, I don't think it's the position of this show to state whether or not a belief system is true, but rather to explore the actions of those who think it's true. Not to
Wow.
resolve arguments, but to start arguments.
Mission accomplished.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, this one, he answered quite a bit also. But Sheridan did not tell President Clark about the Minbari soul situation. Clark already knew. Sheridan's line is, I spoke with the president. He's the only other person who knows why the Minbari surrendered. Also in the first issue of the comic, this prior knowledge on Clark's part is clear as well. To my delight, he says, yes, we brightened things up a notch, but only a notch, because we discovered that a lot of the good work being done on the sets and costumes wasn't being seen because they were too dark. They Stargated it, basically.
Yeah.
Why have lights? So we went up about one f-stop, but at the same time began using more shadows, textures, and colors, so the show has a more realistic and denser look to it. This one I'm interested in because of my recollection of the next episode. But he says, if you think Points of Departure was a wham, then I can't wait to see your reaction to Revelations. I don't remember it being much of a wham, but...
No, I remember not having that big of a... See, that's where I think... you know what I think's happening with some of this, Jeff? You know how you and I often talk about, especially through the first watch, there's the group think. People are seeing like Sheridan and Delenn right now through the eyes of season 5 Sheridan and Delenn, not through the eyes of we just got out of season 1. You know? And we can't do that. JMS is already watching them and knows all these pieces because he's already looking at it through the future lens. And nobody else is. Yeah. So he literally went first and does what. So listen, for all of you folks out there who are doing that, which Jeff and I are joining you now, JMS went first.
Yeah, he is the first one.
We're in good company. He's Lorian. He is the first one.
Sheridan is a descendant of General Philip John Sheridan. You familiar with General John Sheridan?
I know John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, but
his name was my name too.
Was it?
Yeah. And every time I go out, people always shout,
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yeah. There we go. We're dads.
He was a real world Civil War?
Yeah.
Civil War. Okay.
He was a general in the Union Army, and everything worked out really well. And Sheridan being a descendant of his and Bruce Boxleitner, huge Civil War buff. So the Lincoln stuff that we get through here was really, really natural. It says the battle. Oh gosh, this is really great, especially because of last week's episode. He says the Battle of the Line and the hole in Sinclair's mind was always intended as the entry point, the trigger to the story. It's like Frodo being given the ring in Lord of the Rings. The story isn't about that, but that's how we get into the story.
Okay.
Robert Foxworth, who plays General Haig.
Yep.
He's somebody that they spoke to in case Bruce wasn't available or didn't fit for the role or whatever. He was a second choice for Sheridan.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. They liked him a lot, and then they kept him as General Haig.
You know what? He would have been a completely different deal. He doesn't have that youthful vigor that Bruce Boxleitner brings. Although I like him as an actor, but he's good in the roles that he gets.
He is a general, not a captain.
Yeah. That's a great. He's a general, not a captain. He's an admiral or a badmiral, not a good admiral.
Not many of those. I like this. I appreciate as well. There's a lot of things he said that I really resonate with. We had originally intended to resolve the missing 24 hours and the Battle of the Line by episode 4 in the second season. But we just had to move it up 3 episodes to the first episode because new players are coming onto the field in the form of, he says, the Shadow Men and other forces. And now we have to begin turning our attention to new mysteries. Thought it was interesting. He called them Shadow Men. Like he's still looking for that name for them.
Yep. Yeah. He doesn't quite have it yet.
Just a few more, and I like this a lot. Actually, God, there's a lot of these I just really like and appreciate. He says all the characters are unique. There seems to be this boneheaded notion that I frequently run into. Well, Ivanova's just Takashima renamed, or Sheridan's story is just the same as Sinclair's, same guy, just renamed. They're not, and never have been. The story of one does not devolve automatically into the other. If you make a change, it's because you have something better in mind.
Oh, yeah. Hey, here's my original plan. I'm going to make some changes because why? It got better.
It got better.
It got better.
And then one for my music buffs out there. Regarding the theme music, to me, this one is neither worse nor better than the first. They're different and meant to convey different moods and themes. Each year it'll change. This year was heavy on strings and brass. I like this a lot. This shows the planning even went into the theme. He says next year it'll be heavy on percussion.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
I like that he even had already had those conversations about the theme for it.
Yeah. Like every detail he had planned out. That's what I got looking back at Lurker's Guide and other sources of information out there.
So much stuff, dude.
I know. Well, it makes sense between our review of it, his review of talking through everything. This is a big change and pivot point for Babylon 5.
Sure. I like where he talks about, you're not just replacing somebody and then moving on with the character in the same story. Although we did see many elements of Sinclair's original story still make their way over to Sheridan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everything from literally the exact description of him getting kicked out of the little thing in the turbo lift and the reveal of Kosh. And his relationship with Delenn, although that felt a lot more organic than what we said happened in the original arc.
Organic and respectful and consensual, things like that. Yeah.
Unforced. Yeah. Not pre-planned by the what you call it. See, here's my thing. Okay, let's talk about just Delenn for a sec. I was thinking about this last night after we got done. My impression of what's going on with Delenn is she goes into the chrysalis not to emerge as a female able to mate with a human and have a baby. She goes into the chrysalis because that's the prophecy, and in doing so, she becomes the person who can help bridge the two people. And she thinks like that's her, like she's the anti-Valen in that, like, Sinclair came over to the Minbari, now she's going over to the human, and it's bringing balance to the whole thing. Like it was all with Delenn, and when she did that, she winds up meeting Sheridan and falling for Sheridan, and then they wind up having a child. Not, I'm coming over here to either kill you or take your seed. Like,
right. But I think that's a good thing to point out, because I have thought a number of times that the chrysalisine of Delenn actually was pointless. Like it did nothing. But what it did was in War Without End, when Sinclair just walks out of the ship in the past as Valen, you're like, oh, I know exactly what happened. So it's like, okay, it had a whole different bent in his original plan, but for this, it was basically, we can just show you this thing instead of having to do a big build up and explain it, because we already did the build up and explanation. We've been building this one up for a while. Brent, what do you say we watch the episode?
Let's go watch this episode.
If you're joining us for the first time or the 1000th time, let me tell you how this works. Break it down a little bit. Brent and I have not watched this episode since the first time we watched it. Have you watched this since the first time?
I have not.
Same. Watched it a couple times the first time around. Haven't watched it since. So we're going to watch it in real time right here with you. We're going to bring it up. We're going to watch the episode. We're going to talk about it. We're going to react. We're going to pause. We're going to say, oh my gosh, what's this thing? And have all the conversations. That's going to get kind of chopped up and stuff so that we can put it onto YouTube and honor the copyrights that are important and should be honored. So they'll be out there for you to watch on YouTube. The full version with our entire conversation and our pauses and our boops and everything is posted up on our Patreon page at patreon.com/Babylon5First. That's with the number 5 and the word first.
And if you're listening to us on the podcasting apps out there, you're going to hear that reaction, and then stick around because we're going to have the conversation on the other side, just like our YouTube folks get. That way you guys can join in the fun as well. And we'll talk about all the messages we uncover and all that sorts of stuff. So, Jeff, let's watch an episode.
Let's watch it. Get into season 2.
Accessing file.
Again.
1:45 in the morning. Ugh. Third shift.
We'll swing back this way in a month. Make sure
Delta
everything's
shift.
okay.
Those hijackers so much as blink in your direction. Yell. We'll be here.
Roger.
It just feels so
Roger.
feels so
I'll
comfortable
say
hearing
It
his
does.
voice. It's just like,
It does.
again, no shade to Michael Harris Sinclair, but it's like, oh, now we're watching Babylon 5.
Initiate jump into hyperspace.
Jump point I.
There it is, jump point I. They're already doing it.
Dude, these graphics look so good.
It's a
This
remarkable,
still holds up right now.
Earth Dome on Gold Channel 1.
such a remarkable
It's
step
General
up.
Haig, Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Thank you for
Patch it through to
clarifying
my
for us who
office.
General Haig is.
Yes, sir.
I like when they do lines just for us.
Receive.
Like, he clearly
General,
knows who he would
This
be.
is a surprise. What can I do for you?
You know what's great,
The
Jeff?
last
I'm
few days,
noticing,
the Minbari warship.
and I only noticed this because I just edited that video for the thing.
Mm-hmm.
The uniform that General Haig here is wearing
Yeah.
is the same dress uniform that Sheridan wore after the Earth Civil War when he was doing his big speech.
Mm-hmm.
Like where he resigned from Earth Force and all that, like right before they turned around and named him president of the International or the Interstellar Alliance. That's a slick looking uniform, man. That's which I'm like, wait, I don't know what General Haig's coming out of, because that's either a dress uniform or that's the uniform of a general, which Sheridan was wearing.
Well, I think, and you know this, you've watched Stargate. The uniform of the general is not that much different from the uniform of everybody else. They just have stars on it.
That's fair.
So this is the dress uniform. And I think
Why is he wearing a dress uniform to talk to a guy, though?
well, look at him. He's in his office. It's probably a big official thing. That's one thing that sci-fi,
You wear your dress uniforms in the office?
you don't, but sci-fi military tends to.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you that as a convention.
Right.
It's wrong. but
Yeah.
I'll give you that as a convention. Okay. It is an easy way visually in television to say this person is important.
Mm-hmm. But you think about like Hammond and Davis, Norman Davis, like
Yeah.
same shirt, just, Hammond's got his up on his shoulder and then Davis has his
Yeah.
sergeant badge on his arm.
We have reason to believe it may have hostile intent.
I love
I don't understand.
the helmet with the
The war's been
pitchfork,
over for more
or
than
the
10
trident
years.
on
Why would the
wall.
Minbari government launch an attack?
They wouldn't.
Now I want a new. Now I want a new one.
Oh, you got to
Like, I
get
love the Sinclair aircraft thing, but now I want that one.
Well, I want to see it because that's similar to the symbol for the Navy SEALs. They've got like a thing with a trident on it.
I'm sure it's gonna. Hey, if anybody out there has one or knows where I can get one, hook a brother up, because I will put that up on my wall because that's cool.
We have a renegade warship on our hands.
The Trigati.
The Minbari government has dispatched a second cruiser in hopes of finding the Trigati before it does any damage. Maybe a while before that cruiser arrives. When it does, I want you to make personal contact with it and coordinate the search.
General, with all due respect, it's time I made personal contact with the Minbari warship. I sent
went
it straight to hell.
That's why I
Wow,
want
look
you
at
in
that.
part of space. Captain.
Straight to hell.
You've beaten them once, and if necessary, you can do so again.
What an opening
Tell no one about
line
this.
for him.
Understood.
I need you to do one other job, and this comes straight from the president.
He's Nukem Sheridan from Go.
Status report. Lieutenant Commander Susan Ivanova recording. It is now 8 days since the death of Earth Alliance President Luis Santiago.
We both really
and
liked
5
this
days
speech.
since Commander Sinclair
first
was
time
recalled
around.
to Earth without explanation. And the whole place has gone straight to hell.
Which is where he blew the last Minbari ship.
Right?
But it's great. It catches us up on everything.
Your commanding officer, Commander Sinclair, will not be returning to Babylon 5. He's being reassigned permanently.
The way he brought that up, your commanding officer, Commander Sinclair, is dead. Like that, it was the cadence was totally leading to that.
The year the Great War came upon us all.
You were really pissed.
I was.
that they said that.
This is the story
Spoiler
of the
alert.
They spoiled everything. And I'm like,
The year is 2259. The name
That's
of
we're
the
giving
place
you
is
information, but
Babylon
now you need to
5.
look for how it gets there.
I still feel like it's giving it away.
To the Minbari homeworld. He'll be functioning as the first Earth ambassador allowed permanent residence there. I've already briefed Captain Sheridan.
Who?
Captain Sheridan. John Sheridan?
That's right. I believe you know him.
Yes, sir. I served under him at the transfer point off Io.
I was an
Man,
LT.
fine officer, but
I'm sorry. I just noticed this. Sheridan was put in place by the president.
Yes.
Direct order of the president. The president is Clark. Not Santiago. The president is Clark. Clark puts Sheridan in control of B5. Sheridan winds up rebelling and being the one who deposes Clark.
That's huge.
At the very end.
Right? Yeah.
And Sheridan couldn't have done that had he not been put in charge of B5.
It's his
Would not.
fatal flaw. The misstep.
Clark just sealed his fate. All right. Do we know this guy? Is he Great Council?
So
He's got to be, right?
she's done it, hasn't she?
It's probably Rethen.
She's in there.
I think
No, because Rethen was all for it.
Yeah.
Prophecy will attend to
Oh.
itself, we told her.
welcome aboard, sir. I'm authorized to surrender command of Babylon 5 to you at this time.
She's so excited to do it, too.
And Ambassador Delenn is in a cocoon.
As in a moth or a butterfly?
Yes, sir. About yay high.
Got yay high. So great.
Interesting place you have here.
And he's not even phased by it.
Right.
He's like, cool, man, whatever.
Let's go. All right.
Babylon 5 is divided into several different sections.
You were excited about this, I remember.
Yeah, because that was the thing we were talking about is by the end of the first season, we still had no clue about how Babylon 5 was laid out or what was going on with it. Here it is fully explained. So good.
I'll just grab a fast shower, we'll head up to command and control, and I'll give them my good luck speech.
Fast.
Sir?
Quote.
That's the same speech I gave him when I took command on Io, on the Agamemnon. It's sort of my,
Tradition.
good luck charm.
It's my thing.
Always give it within 24 hours of taking on a new assignment.
Which means he's totally not giving it within
Do you mind if I
24
mention
hours.
CNC?
Just want to point out, you mentioned often how we watch this through the eyes of the end of the whole series.
Yeah.
We're looking at 2 Ranger 1s sitting here just having a conversation about taking care of the people on Babylon 5.
2 Anla Shocks.
And Lashak Nas.
Anla Shock. No. That's cool.
We have supporters even among the council. They tell us that Sinclair is now on our world.
He's an ambassador.
So you say. But the Grey Council never tells anyone the whole truth, does it?
It's almost like JMS is still sticking a little bit to the original script with Sinclair. You know, the original backstory. Like, those elements are still in play for Sinclair.
Yeah. Like, maybe we could, maybe, I don't know.
I'm sorry to bother you, sir, but I've got security on the link.
Sorry to bother you, sir, but I'm going to overact while I deliver these lines.
Won't say what it's about, only that it involves the safety of the station. He says it's absolutely urgent.
I wonder how many takes it took to get
I feel like that's actually an ADR recording.
They're like, we're just going to clean it in
This
post.
does not fit.
Plenty of time for speeches. Carry on.
Babylon 5 Leadership Academy moment.
Yeah.
He doesn't know jack squat about those people or what they've done. Like, it's been hours from the time he was told he's taking command to stepping in and taking command. He might have perused a couple reports. That's not what's important. What's important is he went and met them and tried to like have a bit of a connection. But the whole point was him saying, y'all are great. And I'm excited not just to be here, but to be here with you. Doing that, yeah, you know, and then it sets stuff up for if they do underperform, you can be like, I don't understand. You're so great. I know you're so great. What's going on? Come on, man.
Get your head out of your...
Exactly. But excellent moment from Sheridan there.
Hey, hold it right there. That section's off limits to everyone but station personnel.
He's about to get
diplomatic
janked.
staff.
Right.
I'm sorry. I seem to be lost.
He's just doing that because he's Minbari.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. This court.
His name is Calais. If you will arrange to have him apprehended, I will have him picked up by others and conveyed to Minbar.
You said he was second in command of a Minbari cruiser. Which one?
I don't see what that has to do with this.
Was it the Trugati?
What's the Trugati?
It is not something we like to talk about.
Sit right back and I'll tell the tale. Tale of a rogue ship.
At the end of the war, when our ships were ordered to surrender, one of our war leaders, Sinoval, took his own life rather than obey, and became a martyr to his own crew.
So this is part of the original plan. You and I thought that it might have been the Shy Elite. That's what happened with the Shy Elite. So it was this guy. Now, I'm curious to know, and I would ask JMS this. JMS, you're watching. Send us an email. Let us know, because you have time to write people emails who ask you random questions.
Totally.
But a question I would have is when you wrote, or when you had the episode written where we met Naroon and the Shy Elite. I forget which episode that was. Was it something else?
Well, it was Legacies, right? With Naroon.
Was it Legacies?
Mm-hmm.
With Naroon. Yeah, it's the one where we met Naroon, right?
Yeah.
Was it intended that the person that the Shy Elite had committed suicide, but now that got shifted over to this person?
I think so.
Or was this the person who'd always committed suicide in your original plan? Just curious.
Right.
See, now I'm tracking all the changes.
That's fun.
The president feels the Minbari had too much influence over an Earth outpost. Times change.
And the day that a man such as yourself is given a position of this importance is a dark day indeed.
Music's working hard.
We
This is
lost
great.
many of our best warriors because of you.
Well, he says it's not
We
Crusade.
do not soon forget such things. If there is a doom on this station, it is because you brought it here.
In this moment right now, I, as a viewer, fully believe that all-out war can break out between Earth and Minbari right here, right now. And that's what Sheridan was put here to do.
Oh, to break out the war?
Mm-hmm.
Make the war happen? Interesting. I think in many ways we're still following that original blueprint right here.
Leading to the Earth Minbari war.
Leading to the Earth Minbari war, yeah. Or this is how he's wrapping it up so he doesn't have to go down that path.
Yeah, he's got to be.
He's in the
It
moment.
was the only real victory we had in the whole damn war, and I am not about to apologize for it. He said Kalain feels his world has betrayed him. If that's true, would your first target be the representative of that world?
Delenn.
Now, we see that mining happen in the beginning, and it happens a little bit differently than this. But the thing I don't remember, and I feel awful I don't remember it, but didn't Ivanova's brother die in that situation? Isn't this where he went, or in what led to it? I'm looking over to our council chambers.
Council chambers, yeah. I'm waiting for them to. I would not have made that connection, but it's possible. Nia confirms and says, yes, you're right.
It's interesting. Like, they make a couple changes. That's not. I don't think it was between Jupiter and Mars in the film, and then that's where he went. I'm curious, because Sheridan wasn't in command, so he wouldn't necessarily know every pilot, that was there. But just an interesting dynamic behind all of that.
She's in there, isn't she?
No.
Move aside.
Lanier.
Let's go.
Freeze!
I love you.
Put the gun down. Put the gun down, we won't hurt you.
Klain's like, this is exactly what I wanted.
If you are going to kill me, then do so.
Then we're not getting anywhere. I suggest we wrap it up for now and try again tomorrow.
So we're not getting anywhere. Why don't you let me hit him, see what happens.
I'm told that after the death of your commanding officer, you took command of a Minbari war cruiser. But if you're here, where's your ship?
Cut to the jump gate.
There is something we need to discuss, especially in light of Kalain's presence.
Specifically, you
It
stealing
concerns
my woman.
The reason you were sent here, the relocation of Commander Sinclair, and the reason we surrendered at the Battle of the Line.
And right now, everybody's like,
after 3 years,
doing happy dances.
Holy war.
We're gonna find out.
When our leader was killed by an Earth Explorer division, you surviving Earth ships that were ordered to defend your world at any cost were not an obstacle.
We're not an obstacle.
Not a big deal.
Oversee the final victory of our forces.
They cannot harm our ships.
I love that we get this scene
Continue
here.
to try. If our next step is the final assault on their world, we must know their defenses.
Do
Very
you?
well, Delenn.
Like, we're just cutting through them.
But quickly.
That one.
Yeah, this is great. We don't
I like
see
how
them.
they just randomly picked, like...
Well, it was, Kosh gave her
This was the first time
planted the seed in her head to say this
have
one.
direct contact with a human. In this case, Sinclair. He was tortured, interrogated, scanned. During the course of the scan,
because they will hurt
Council
people who are
discovered
not one of
something
their
terrible.
What was true?
It is our belief that every generation of Minbari is reborn in each following generation. Remove those souls, and the whole suffers. We are diminished.
Weaker.
Over the last 2,000 years, there have been fewer Minbari born into each generation. And those who are born do not seem equal to those who came before. It is almost as if our greater souls have been disappearing.
You know, in the original treatment, it says that each successive generation is weaker.
Mm-hmm.
Here he just says they're not as great as before.
Yeah.
That's a much different way to word that.
It really is.
To where it makes sense,
Yeah, like we talked about last, weakness has a connotation to it.
Yeah.
He's saying we're still great.
At the
just
Battle
not
of
as
the
great.
Line, we discovered where our souls were going. They were going to you.
To you.
Minbari souls are being reborn, in part or in full, in human bodies.
So you stopped the war?
Now, what do we know now? Let's look at this through the lens of the future Jeff and Brent, right? Minbari souls are not being reborn in humans. What it is Valen went back in time as a half-human, and he started commingling Minbari blood with his half-human bastardization, really.
Yeah.
And it's really the Minbari who have been... Now, obviously, by the time you get this far down the line, you're like... It's so minuscule DNA that you would have from a human in your body if Valen was the only half-human to be introduced into your whole species.
Right.
But regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless. And that the human, like... I want to know how they tested the others. Like, did they hold up the Triluminary to the others and find it as well? Because, and here's why I say that. The whole idea of what the Triluminary was, and I know this, I don't think this is canon, but the piece that's floating inside the Triluminary is the broken piece of Sinclair's hand communicator.
Right.
And so that's why it glows when it gets next to Sheridan or any of his offspring who have his DNA, because it's coded to his DNA. It wouldn't glow if they tested one of the other pilots, though. Unless
they were connected on Ancestry.com or something.
I guess. Hey, listen, you and my wife. There we go.
It's true.
Jeff's my cousin, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knew?
A little removed, but it's there.
A little, yeah, for sure. But anyway, and you know, as Fabio points out, though, we also know that because of the Soul Hunters and because of the episode Soul Hunter and the movie, what was the movie? The not great one.
That doesn't narrow it down, I'm afraid. But I think you're thinking of River of Souls.
River of Souls. There it is. Yeah. That souls are a thing in this universe. And frankly, the way we see Vorlons, the way we see Deconstruction of Fallen Stars, when people evolve into, like, those are probably what the idea of a soul is. So souls are a thing. They're not getting reborn, though, into humans. They're just there in Minbari. They're just being weaker or not as great as they once were.
Although I would say that this show doesn't state whether or not a belief system is true. It explores the actions of those who think that it is true.
It's true, but it also gives us there, whether you call it a soul or it's something else, an essence or whatever,
DNA.
The show has established that there is something of the individual that survives beyond death in this plane.
Yeah.
Now, whatever that is, I don't know. You know, and the show doesn't answer that. It leaves that to us.
It does. I think
to allow the people to explore that.
And it gives us pieces. In passing through Gethsemane, right, we find out that the Minbari overall belief is that we're all just manifestations of the universe figuring stuff out. And so our souls return to that, you know. And I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that you can approach from it.
Yeah. I just think either way, the Minbari are way off on their thought process here, but it led to what was... Like, whatever the Minbari believe is not actually what's happening.
Well, and I think if we look back at the original treatment, I think this is what the religious caste and maybe some of the worker caste believe. Warrior caste, I don't think, believes any of this.
Fair.
We had all memory of the examination erased from Sinclair's mind, and we let him go. Commander Sinclair was the first. There will be more.
There will be more.
Captain, we've got something major coming through the jump gate.
It's called the Trigati.
It's a Minbari cruiser. Gun ports are open and targeting systems are operational.
Gun ports open mean a good thing.
Right? They're just saying
Gun
hi.
ports open are a good thing.
It's cool. They're just saying hello.
This is Elite Diran of the Minbari war cruiser Trigati, who will release our captain.
Yeah, funny thing.
If we refuse?
He
That
did.
means she's launching fighters.
And the original theme going in this launch.
Recall your fighters. Any attack on this station will be considered an act of war.
The war has already begun, Captain.
That's what I was afraid of. They
They're not
wanted
gonna
to look
buy
like
that
we
it was
are provoking
suicide.
them into war. We don't have any choice. All fighters, intercept enemy craft and engage.
Confirm, Babylon Control.
I feel like this is our first, like, big and great space battle. Maybe not
Those are
great,
our fighters.
but big and, like, good.
Those are the Minbari fighters.
Yeah. I mean, we had the Battle of the Line stuff.
Yeah.
We did have the attack of the Raiders.
What kind of tracking systems are we using?
Yeah.
Chrysalis?
Standard XP7 units, what?
A little bit, yeah.
Same can we use during the war, but that doesn't make sense. All fighters hold position.
Sir, what are you doing? If they hold position, they're perfect targets.
I know what I'm doing.
All fighters confirmed. Maintain
effing
position.
Star
Do
Killer.
not advance. Repeat, do not advance.
If we're not allowed to fire, we're dead.
This is where Sheridan needs to be like, trust me, you're fine.
Captain.
Hold your fire.
Gotta wonder how many of these pilots
I don't
served
understand. They
during the
didn't fire.
war.
They're looping back, heading for the Trigati.
Exactly.
But how did you know they...
We've got something coming through the jump gate.
It's another Minbari ship. Hey, I recognize the Minbari warships.
That's why they didn't fire.
That's good.
They were waiting for reinforcements.
Negative. They're here because I called them. I knew the Minbari government had sent another cruiser to look for the Trigati. But since no one's seen it, I figured they were waiting in hyperspace until they heard about another sighting. Looks like I was right.
Slices it off.
His engines have been hit. Unable to make jump. No change in life signs. It's a clean hit.
The war cruiser is ordering the Trigati to stand down and prepare to be boarded.
The response?
Just one word. Honor.
Oh my god.
Boss, shield up. Get down.
The crew of the Trigati were heroes to many of our people. Their death will be mourned, and your name will be remembered.
It already is. So we're good there, I think. In the chat, Fabio makes a really good point.
What's that?
Dude's all, they were heroes to us. How dare you do this? We're going to remember your name. You're the dude who shot them.
Yeah. Right. And he was just like a punk little lieutenant back then.
They say it will take both of our races to stop the darkness. I'm told that the Earthers will discover all this soon enough on their own. I hope they are right. Because if we are wrong, no one will survive our mistake.
I really wish this is where the final battle would have gone. You know, that it was going to take Earth and Minbar coming together in this major unified front and push. And I'm not talking about Sheridan and Delenn as a couple, right?
Yeah.
I'm not talking necessarily those two coming together to form the other part of the one or their child or anything like that. I mean, it actually takes the Minbari and the humans coming together and working in order to defeat what we now know as the Shadows.
Yeah.
Right. Also, we know that there's more to it than just go defeat the Shadows, but still, like, I really I wish we would have gotten that story.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
I love the one we got.
Right.
Listen, Into the Fire might be the single greatest hour of television I've ever seen in my life.
Right. Exactly.
But I really like the story that Lanier seems to be building in our heads right now. Oh, coming out of the cocoon. And it's gooey.
She's been in there for a while, at least a week. It's got to smell so bad.
Like a butterfly. Look at those. Look at that graphic.
So
right
good.
All right, that's not great, but the other one was so good.
We get ear hearts for the first time.
Mind looking an entire squadron of Minbari fighters right in the eye.
We shall nobly save or meanly lose our last, best hope of Earth.
Our last, best hope, said the thing.
Of Earth. Okay, why is CNC completely empty right now?
Because it's a maintenance time. It's late shift.
Should that be a 24-hour, like, somebody's there, a crew is there all the time?
You would think, yeah. But they did seed this in the first season.
Did they?
They talked about maintenance cycles that it runs through.
Okay.
All right, Brent. Season 2. We're officially in it.
Yeah.
What do you got on this one? Points of departure.
Man, I really like this episode.
Yeah?
I do. I liked everything about this episode. I like the tension. I like the drama. I like what as a hell of a way to introduce a new captain. Yeah. If you're going to have to do it, this is the way to do it, man. And we know everything we need to know about Sheridan from this one episode. We know about his history. We know about who he is as a character. We know about how he commands. We know about his strategist type deal. The only thing we don't know about him is just his inexplicable love for nukes.
Right.
Outside of that, and we also don't know he's a conspiracy theorist.
No, we don't know that yet.
You know, I feel like there's a few other things about him.
We don't know that his go-to is woohoo.
It's true. We also don't know that he cleans his socks all the time.
Yeah, don't know that. Not for a while. We're not going to know that for a little while, actually.
Right.
One time. We'll know it one time.
One time. Yeah. One time. But yeah, no, I fully enjoyed this episode. I stand by what I said in my first watch. I like this episode. It's good TV, man. And it feels like we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
It feels like we've taken off the brake and we're pressing on the gas and now we're moving and we're not just spinning our wheels world building anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. How about you?
I like it better than you said I liked it the first time. I think it was, and here's why. I was really wanting like the mystery to unfold, you know, around the Battle of the Line and the hole in his mind and all of that stuff. Now looking back on it, and I can see this episode for what it is. If you never watched season 1, oh my gosh, I'm eating my words from a couple of weeks ago. If you never watched season 1 and you popped in on this episode, you'd be fine.
You got everything you need.
They told you what you needed to know. Yeah.
It's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. It's a good reset. Hey, here's the big stuff that happened. Here's the new stuff that's coming up, and here we go.
And that's a part of what JMS has to do as a writer here, right? Is he's trying to tell this overlong story. Also, he's writing in an era where everything is episodic.
Yeah.
So people have to be able to come into the story and pick up with where you are.
In this case,
and so every once in a while, he has to give us these clip shows without entering them into a clip show.
Yep.
Remember that one?
Right? But it makes sense. Like we say, every show is someone's first. Back in this time of TV, every episode was somebody's first. In the chat, Absolutely. Andrew says this was the first episode of Babylon 5 he ever saw. You know,
and look at him now.
I know, right? It did its job. Did its job pretty darn well. What did you get for messages in this one?
Yeah, I wasn't really going down that path, man. I was just enjoying the show.
This is a really good show.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm trying to think of something out of his speech there specifically, but so much of this, there's the information dumped by Lanier. There's the here actually. This isn't a message, but I think this is a poignant piece. You have people that were battling 12 years ago to the point this became their identity. They staked everything about themselves, that they defied the orders of the Great Council. They went rogue. Their captain has just committed suicide yet again. They've gone so far they can't go back.
Yeah.
And their only out now is death. But they don't have any intentions of coming and killing anybody. They just want to be killed, but they want to have someone else killed them.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a mirror to society off of that. I don't have a how to be a better human being. I don't have a hope for things to be better in the future, but I do feel like there's something there worth thinking about and dwelling on as far as how much you put your identity and you put all your eggs in your basket on this thing to the point that it literally you can't ever escape out of that thing that you've placed your value in. What about you, Jeff? Did you pick anything up on this one?
I did. I want to talk a little bit though about what you just brought up with that being one, like not letting it go.
Yeah.
You know, this goes all the way back to Midnight on the Firing Line in Delenn. Like, when is it enough? And how often do we hear stories, even in our own history, like we don't even remember why we're fighting?
Right.
Like, this has just been going on for a long time, and we just keep doing it. And there's that value in letting go. This is what it looks like when you don't. But what I was stuck kind of like pondering a little bit was, despite Dude being mad that they had to blow the Trigati up, killing them in it's very Klingon, right? Killing them in a killing them in battle of some kind was a mercy, right? Like they were doing them a favor.
Yeah.
As a Catholic, this is a weird thing for me to be saying, but sometimes sometimes it's the right. Oh my gosh, I need to choose my words really carefully here. This is what I'm not going to say is what I'm going to say right now. Is sometimes it's okay to kill people. It's not okay to kill people, but sometimes the answer is the end, right? Whatever the end is. I'm reminded of when I had my dog Cora, my Old English sheepdog, and I had to put her down, and I was so confused. As a Catholic, right? We say. We honor all life from conception to natural death, and so like we don't believe in assisted suicide, euthanasia, things like that. But I remember like I put my dog down and like I got hugs and I was kind of a hero. I'm like, good for you, man. You made the hard choice. You did all this great stuff. And I'm like, if I did this to my mom, I would be a monster. Why is it different?
Yeah.
And so I just think, I don't know exactly what the lesson to unpack is in this, but just that there's one path where those people on the Trigati see where they're at and somehow have it within themselves to turn it around and rehabilitate and change and see the world differently. Also, not everyone has that inside of them. And the answer could be what happened to them.
You and I have litigated the whole idea of euthanasia before. And specifically, here's what we're willing to do with animals that we're not willing to do with people.
Yeah.
And I find that rather disturbing, frankly. And I don't know that there's a great solid answer, and we're not going to solve it today right now either. But there would have, what if Sheridan would have pulled the trigger and kind of given them their mercy? And then what if that would have triggered a whole new war?
100%
And that's what they were actually trying to do. And that's the difference between here it is as an act of mercy, or this is like Deathwalker. It's not an act of mercy. We're doing this so that it will trigger this whole war. And now we're basically we're making ourselves martyrs to our cause. Which way are you going to go with that? I don't know. And I think like most things, it goes back to not actually what you're doing. It goes back to why you're doing it.
Yep.
And who's the person to sit there and divide the hair over why you're doing it versus what you're doing. So
when that came up in the council chambers chat a little bit around the difference between Santiago and Clark in regards to Sheridan, and that Santiago knew some of the why of Sheridan, knew a bit of who he was. Clark knew Starkiller and moved forward with that. It's the what and the why and the difference there. But that kind of dovetails into the other thing I picked out of it. And we avoided war because Sheridan saw the bigger picture. Sheridan knew things other people didn't know and was able to piece it together in a way. He's like, nope, we're just going to sit here. It's going to be fine. This is what's going to happen. Faith. Sometimes you just have to have faith.
All right, George Michael.
Got it. Dude, George Michael is such a great guy. Like it's a tragedy.
Never met him.
He's no longer with us. He used to like volunteer, not as George Michael, but just as dude wanting to volunteer to help, people. He would find people like pay their heating bills or whatever anonymously just to help people out.
That's cool.
He was a legit good guy.
That's cool.
But yeah, that's kind of what I got out of this one from a message standpoint.
Well, those were messages, but Jeff, we have a sacred honor, a sacred duty.
A duty, yes.
A sacred duty. That is an honor to take this episode and to place it in a 100% completely accurate and definitive ranking, an all new season here, Jeff. Now, season 1, our definitive ranking, shuffled around a little bit from our first watch.
Yeah.
I think in many cases it kind of stayed the same, but there were some definite shuffles and inappropriate shuffles. I'm eager to see when we get to the end of season 2 here where the shuffling happens. I was looking at it the other day. I don't think we're going to move around a lot in our top 5.
Really?
With such a strong top 5.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think we're going to go there. But for now, Jeff, it falls to you, my friend, to place this episode. I know it's a tough task this week, but where out of 22 episodes are you going to place the season or the first episode of the season points of departure?
Man, I just don't know. This is a tough one to think. I will say that in our definitive ranking of season 2, points of departure came in just under the halfway point at number 12.
Wow.
But for now,
listen, I'm sorry, before you do that, can we talk about the season just for a moment of how it's going to go?
Yeah.
Because this is a good spot to do it. Folks, I'm warning you. The first half of season 2 did not go so well for Jeff and I.
It did not. No.
A lot of people dropped out on us, or they got really mad at us during the first half of season 2. I don't foresee that changing too terribly much this time around. Stick with us. All right. Don't just listen. Jeff and I are going to be honest and true to where we are with stuff, but just stick with us. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're here. But considering that like the first half of the season was, the fact that this episode wound up at number 12 and not higher.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, it is.
The second half of the season, man, is baller.
To your earlier point, our top 5 from number 5, The Fall of Night, In the Shadow of Zahad-Dum. In third place, A Race Through Dark Places, The Coming of Shadows, and The Long Twilight Struggle.
Long Twilight Struggle, man. Hey, listen, there was a conversation earlier today in our Discord about what episode, like, should you just start somebody who doesn't really have a super interest in Babylon 5? Like, where should you just start them? And we had posited way back when that Severed Dreams would be a good one to throw on.
Right.
Long Twilight Struggle would be a fantastic one.
I remember my reaction to Long Twilight Struggle. I was in Las Vegas, actually in the hotel where the Star Trek experience used to be, and it smelled terrible in the room. But I got physical. Actually got goosebumps. Like it was oof. It was moving. We got a long ways though till we get to the Long Twilight Struggle.
Oh man,
we have the long second season struggle we have to work through.
Buckle in, folks. That's a bunch of episodes. I hope I have hope that they're going to be better this time around.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch them. Even The Long Dark, even A Distant Star. I'm excited to see them because we're going to see them differently.
Sure.
Hopefully.
Sure.
Maybe.
Remember that when we get to season 5, Jeff.
Right. See if things change with Byron.
Listen, I'm maintaining an idea that if it was all done on purpose, then it was brilliant.
Can't disagree.
Well, Jeff, where are we placing this one in our prediction, our ranking?
It is currently the number one episode in the second season of Babylon 5.
That is the correct answer. And with that will officially do it for Points of Departure. Next week, Jeff, we got a new episode on deck. Well, not new anymore. We've watched it once before. We're going to watch it again. This episode is Revelations. I remember this episode a lot. Jeff, you don't remember this episode?
I remember Sheridan's sister.
And we got we got Boohoo Cry Sheridan. We got Emotional Sheridan.
Okay.
Which this is a thing about him we needed to know. Like, I get it. This episode, we're not talking about what our reaction was to this episode right now, though, Jeff. I want you to think back, crank it back in your mind, and think about what your prediction. You're sitting in this spot at the end of Points of Departure the first time around, and you hear the name Revelations, not the book of the Bible, the name of the episode. What did you think it might be about? Go.
Well, the book of the Bible is Revelation, not Revelations. So there's that. I thought this was going to be a throwback. We're going to get Talia Winters and the Vicar, and we were going to receive some revelations from all this stuff that he pulled out of her mind, and we were going to learn more about the Psi Corps. What did you predict for this one?
I had a bold prediction.
Okay.
I said in this episode, Delenn was going to emerge from the cocoon.
No, what?
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
In
fact, I laid a stake down. I was declaring it. I was promising that it was going to happen. That she was going to emerge from the cocoon, and that maybe we'd learn some more about the prophecy. We'd finally actually know what that prophecy was that we'd kind of been swirling around
someday,
about.
Maybe.
And we would learn more about what's actually going on with the souls of Minbari and humans and everything like that. And yeah, that we'd find out more about what happened with Delenn. It was all going to be about Delenn and the cocoon.
Revelations of her unchrysalicing.
Yeah.
Emerging from the pupa.
But I mean, think about and unveiling all the stuff about the prophecies and everything. Because that's, she did this for the prophecy. So now here's the prophecy, right?
Makes sense. Cool. Well, we're going to do that next week. We're going to watch Revelations. We're going to see if we predicted well or not and get our second time reactions for it. Thanks for joining us and this watch of Points of Departure. If you haven't already, please subscribe wherever you are listening or watching. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, a rating, the 5 stars, all the different things that you can do. The one thing you can do, though, if you want to be of service, if the calling of your heart is to serve, you can do so by sharing this show, this episode, this podcast with someone that you know, love, or even despise. Either way, let's get the word out and build our incredible community. So until next time.
Jeff.
Yeah, what's up, Brent?
Hey, what was it that our friend said? Remember they were talking about it back then, that there's a doom on this show, this podcast, this YouTube channel, and I think honestly, man, it's my fault. And I don't know how to say it, but I think it's time for me to resign.
What? Why? Why would you do that?
Just one word. Honor.
Well, if you'll hear me out, speaking of honor, it reminds me of this thing that Abraham Lincoln said. He said that the dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise to the occasion. We cannot escape history.
Oh, for crying out loud, Jeff.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. The station is about something.
Under 2 hours.
We're there.
Despite your best efforts.
I might have been trying a little bit.